This is one of those whiskeys where you want to smell it more than you want to drink it. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm going to drink it, but it has one of those very pleasing noses. Welcome to Whiskey's a Journey. My name is Peter Fastiano, and in today's journey, we're heading over to Ireland again. We're still going to be taking a look at a Irish single malt whiskey. This time we're heading over to Tullamore, Ireland, specifically Tullamore D.E.W single malt 14-year-old whiskey. So let's go ahead and pour it, nose it, taste it, and talk about it. All right, so Tullamore D.E.W. This is a 14-year-old single malt. It's coming in at 41.3 ABV. It is non-chill filtered, and they are also using the E150A, the artificial coloring. Let's go ahead and nose this for a second, and then we'll talk about it a little bit. All right, so right up front, what I've been noticing with Irish single malts, they all have almost the same nosing profile. They're very light, they're very crisp, they smell very clean, if that can actually be a descriptor. They all kind of fall into the same kind of broad band. If I were to compare this to an American single malt, and I've said this previous in some of my other videos, American single malts just seem to be very vivacious, very bright, very fruity, very robust. These are a little bit more refined. They're cleaner, they're crisper, they're lighter. On the nose, I'm getting fruit. I'm not getting any spice here. I've got the crisp apples. I can't distinguish whether it's red or green apple. I'm getting some sweetness in grapes. Maybe some pear and pineapple. Let's go ahead and give it a taste. Man, that is good. Let's go ahead and take a look at the color really quick. So that color looks very, very gold. And I think, again, that's that fake artificial coloring, that E150A, I believe it's called. Still, at this point in my journey, I'm not too concerned whether it has coloring or if it's chill filtered. I'm starting to lean more towards a non-chill filtered whiskey rather than a chill filtered. I don't necessarily know if I know the difference between the two just on the taste or the smell, but I'm starting to fall into the hype that when you chill filter, you're taking out congeners. You're taking out those amino acids. You're taking out some of those heavier particles that actually add flavor to the whiskeys. And in this case, the Tullamore D.E.W does triple distillation. And there are arguments out there whether to double distill or triple distill. And I'll talk about triple distillation in a little bit when I get to adding water to this. Definitely on the nose, it's very fruit forward. On the taste, same thing. I'm getting a little bit of bitterness on the tongue. I guess that would be the wood tannins. I'm starting to distinguish the difference between a malt sweetness and a wood tannin. And I think that bitterness or that tang or that sting on your tongue after it kind of initially presents itself on the development or the finish, you end up getting that bitterness. And it's not a bad bitterness and it's not a bad tang, but I do believe those would be the wood tannins that are coming through. All right, so this is saying that it is matured in traditional oak casks, and it's finished in old bourbon, Oloroso sherry, port, and Madeira. So that kind of tells me with the sherry, the port, and the Madeira that this should have some dark fruits. Now, I've talked about wood maturation and wood finishing in my previous videos. So if you haven't seen any of my previous videos, I'll have a playlist at the end of this one. If you are not a subscriber and you want to subscribe to the channel, subscribe, give me a thumbs up. If you know somebody in the whiskey world, share this video with them, share this channel with them. Let's go ahead and go on to the other stuff here. Let's go ahead and add a little bit of water to this. And something that I've also noticed, when you add water to an Irish whiskey, if it doesn't really have a high ABV, they don't really hold up to water. It does change the profile a little bit, but I think with this being the 41%, I think it kind of kills a light whiskey already. So just be careful when you do add water. Don't add too much. Go drop by drop by drop, because I have been putting water in all of my other reviews. I want to put water in this one too, just so I can see how it holds up. This opened up a little bit. I'm getting a little bit of floral notes to this. I still have all of those fruity flavors as well. Let's go ahead and let this sit for a little bit, and let's go ahead and talk about triple distillation as opposed to double distillation. Irish whiskeys typically are triple distilled. There are some instances, like in Teeling, they only double distill, and there's some other like single malt Irish whiskeys that double distill. But it seems like the majority of them, when you do look at the labels definitely say triple distilled. And during the whiskey process, when we're talking about triple distillation, after we go through the malting and we go through making the wort and all that, it gets transferred into your first of 3 distillation tanks. Those are the pot stills. The pot stills have that very bottom, looks like a huge pot. They have that ascending tube, that all that copper goes up to the top. You have that little elbow at the top, and then the whiskey kind of flows through the top and down into the other tank. Alcohol evaporates faster than water. So as you're heating up these copper stills, it starts to boil, or it starts to heat up, and all of those alcohol vapors start to move up into the still. They come in contact with the side of the copper. They hit that elbow, they recondense, and they turn into the liquid. And what you're left over with is a higher percentage of alcohol each time you distill. In a triple distillation, what you end up having is you have more contact with the copper, and that copper takes away some of the undesirable flavors, especially that sulfur flavor. The first copper pot is typically considered to be the wash still. The second one is the middle still, go figure. And the last one could also be considered, or is, the spirit still. And each time you go through the distillation process, you're increasing the alcohol each time. The information I have here is the Teeling information. So their wash still goes from 8 to 24% ABV, or 8 to 24% alcohol. That middle still pushes it to 24 to 55. And then the spirit still, the last one, goes to 55 to 80 to 82% alcohol. I'm sure other distilleries and the way they go through their triple distillation, their alcohol levels could vary. And some can argue that if you triple distill, you're also stripping out some of the flavor components, the good flavor components of the whiskey. And then instead of getting a light, crisp, clean, more refined whiskey, you're also making it less flavorful. So there's that give and take. Double distill, triple distill, it's going to leave it up to the individual distillery to do what they think is right. Now, the DEW on Tullamore stands for Daniel E. Williams. He was the actual general manager of the original distillery. He joined Tullamore at the age of 14 back in 1862. So Tullamore actually started up in 1829. It was established by the Malloy brothers. The Malloy brothers had it for a little bit. Ownership transferred to their nephew, which is Captain Bernard Daly, and his family had it for a while. Currently, Tullamore D.E.W is owned by William Grant and Sons. Let's go ahead and give this one last nosing and taste, and I think we'll wrap this one up. Effervescent, this is very fruit forward. This is one of those whiskeys where you want to smell it more than you want to drink it. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm going to drink it, but it has one of those very pleasing noses. I just love all that crisp apple, fruit, grape, light pineapple, light peaches. Last taste. I didn't put a whole lot of water in this, and I can already tell that it definitely has subdued a lot of flavor profiles. It's not something that I would want to add water to on a regular basis. Maybe on a hot summer evening, you might want to throw an ice cube in there. It's up to you. Don't let anybody tell you how to drink your own whiskey. I think that's where I'm going to leave it today. Tullamore D.E.W, a very, very pleasing aroma, nose, palate. The finish isn't very long. Get a little bit of the wood tannin at the end, a little bit of bitterness. The finish doesn't last very long. I believe this is going to be a very dangerous whiskey, so be careful as you are sipping this. It could sip pretty easily, and it could go down a lot quicker than you might think. If I'm going to give this a star rating, I'd bump this one up to about 3 3/4. Very floral on the nose. Those light fruits, it's like I said, it's just one of those whiskeys where you just want to just nose it, which would drive a lot of people crazy. It's like, come on, drink it already. So I'm going to go ahead and drink it. Enjoy your journey. 3.75, 3 3/4 stars on my rating. Very enjoyable. enjoy your journey, do all those things that you normally are supposed to do on a YouTube video. Like, subscribe, share, comment down below if you're familiar with Tullamore D.E.W 14-year-old or any of their other selections. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye. Much better without water. My opinion, at this specific time of drinking this whiskey, I would not put water in it. I would just drink it neat. But you need to figure out what you want to do. We'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.